Damn, chair. Welcome to the Here and Now show. I'm your host, Lavonda Ray. And if you've listened to my Here and Now show, you know that I'm coming from the Midwest, where we come in, and show out. Gotta love your city. And if you've been a part of the Here and Now show, you know that this is a show where I took real life events and changed them into a positive living. If you have any questions or any comments, feel free to leave them in the question box because like I know that all voices matter. So, with that being said, let's play a little more jazz because, as you know, if you tuned into my show before, that I play a little jazz just to kind of set the stage, set the atmosphere. So, if you don't mind joining me in a little bit of music for a few moments before we start the show. Hello, somebody. Just my cheer, huh? Guys, want to buy me a new chair. Huh? Hello, somebody. Thank you, thank you. Welcome back to the Here and Now show. As I said, I'm your host, Yvonne Ray. I am here. I am your girl. I am glad that you guys are here with me right here and right now. Hello, somebody. I would like to apologize. Earlier, I just got off the air, probably not even 10 minutes ago, and then I realized that for some reason I only had 7 minutes of my show. So right when I was getting into the heart of my show, all of a sudden there was problems with the internet. So hello, somebody, for coming back and doing it again. Yes, yes. So today's topic that I'm talking about, today's conversation, it's a real one. I'm talking about breaking up and learning how to live after a breakup. Mm. Now, for me, learning to live after a breakup, that was 7 years ago. Yeah. 7 wear and tear years. Hello, somebody. And let me tell you something. The first 5 years was good. It was happy. It was comfortable. And, it felt good. Shit, just like the seasons changed, something changed. And if you ever been there, you know what I mean. Because it didn't happen all at once. It kind of happened slowly and it was kind of dry and the feeling became uncomfortable. And the communication, well, it started fading. And maybe he was sick of hearing about my job. I would come home and always complain about my job. Maybe I was sick of him and the lack of communication. But the connection shifted. The effort, it ended, started disappearing. And we used to cook together all the time on Sundays. But then Sundays started being more like there was either no dinner or he would eat one thing and I would eat another. And, he would do little things like he stopped opening the car door for me. And I can recall one moment I was sitting in my car and was going home and I was sitting there and for 5 years, for 5 years you have actually opened the door for me and we walk in and I'm sitting in the car like, hello? Like, hello, wait, did I just miss something? Is he really gonna leave me in the house? Well, he did. He walked in the house, and by the time I came in the house, hell, he was doing 100 and different things. So, like I said before, we're gonna get into it. We're gonna talk about something that I've stayed away from for a while, and it's something that relationships is hard. Breakups are even harder. So yeah, we're gonna go there today. Hello, somebody. So I want you guys to get comfortable. We're gonna laugh a little. We might even cry a little bit, but we're gonna mostly be healing, and we're gonna do a little growth. We're gonna talk about the shift because the hardest part of the relationship isn't the hardest part about the relationship for me is the breakup. It is watching something that you love so much or something that you thought was going to go so great slowly fall apart. Like I said, the first 5 years of my relationship back then, it was great. But then when we got to year six, climbing into seven, it hit different. Our timeout wasn't the same. Our energy, his energy, my energy wasn't off. It definitely wasn't the same. And I started noticing little small things like he could go into the refrigerator, or I would go into the refrigerator and grab me a glass of juice or grab me some wine, or he grabbed him a beer or he grabbed him a Gatorade. And I'm sitting there thirsty as hell and he's thirstier, and neither one of us is asking each other, hey, like we used to. Do you want something to drink? And neither one of us didn't address it. And I just kept holding on tighter. And my brain's like, now you're doing too damn much. Now you are doing too much. Make that make more sense. It's like I felt like I was giving and he was giving less. That didn't make much sense to me. But I still sat there. It's kind of like you put in 98%. Okay, I was gonna say 100% because some people go into the relationship putting in 100%. You putting in 100%, they're giving you 25%. Me, I had to save a little percentage for myself. Okay, so I was giving about 98%. He was only giving like 8%. That's not even close to 100. And shit, I just sat there like, boy, bye. You not we're not trying anymore. But I didn't say that. That was in my brain, right? I hadn't got to that level where I was speaking my mind. In my mind, I'm like, boy, bye, get out of here. No, wait, no, you didn't. Did you forget? That's in my brain, right? Then all those thoughts became exhausting and I became confused. And deep down inside, I knew that something wasn't right because you get that feeling. But I kept fooling myself by saying it's just a phase or it'll get better. But what if that phase lasts for years and the hopes of getting better seems to be getting dim, not brighter? Whew, let that reflect on ourselves for a minute. But sometimes walking away, let them let them walk away with their phase. While they walking away with their phase, you're walking into your new phase. Now let's touch the parts that people really don't like talking about, at least for me, because you know you're already brokenhearted, and then you find out you're brokenhearted because you were cheated on. Oh yeah, we're going there. Mm. Because nothing hits harder than being betrayed by someone you love, someone you trusted, someone that you built something with, someone that you've seen a future with, someone that you gave years to, and then the ugly truth comes out like to knock the wind out of you. And the pain feels like the wind has been knocked out of you. Then you're going through the pain, and then following pain is that instant anger of you cheated on me. It's instant anger that it happens, and just don't let that instant anger get nobody killed. Don't go trying to hurt someone because they cheated because there's other ways to handle it. So an instant emotion is to be angry, and then it follows with sadness, and then it follows with the questions of this and questions of that. And then for me, I was isolating myself a little bit, and then the guilt, all those emotions that words cannot even define how you may be feeling. And you're carrying all that, and now the heartbreak starts to set in deeper. Not only was I cheated on, now the heartbreak is starting to set in. And now and again, you're feeling anger. There's that disappointment. And now you're questioning everything that you did in the whole time of your relationship. You're questioning it. And excuse me, I'm not perfect. My phone, people just love me. Sometimes you got to feel important. And you're questioning everything that you did. And you're saying things like, did I miss something? Or was it even real? Or why her? Why him? Why not me? Why wasn't I enough? And remember, don't when you start to feel yourself asking why them, change your mindset to remember that it wasn't about your worth. Okay. I'm saying it again, it wasn't about your worth. You know, your worth. It wasn't about that. It's because maybe someone else's actions did hurt you, but it doesn't define you. Do you understand what I'm saying? It doesn't mean that it won't hurt. It doesn't mean that you will not cry. And I tell you, those tears can last all night. Wake up in the middle of the night where you're sitting on the middle of your bed, like, wow, those moments, they're real. And when I went through those moments for me, when those pains started to, come through my mind and those doubts begin to muster up in my brain, I prayed about everything. I'm a prayer, oh God, this and oh God, that because I knew that with prayer and my faith that my heart will eventually grow to feel something else. And so eventually, not off the gate, but slowly I started to feel better. I wasn't healed yet, but I was starting to feel a little better. And then right when I was feeling a little bit better, then the reality of our breakup came back to me. And it was messy. Ooh, it was messy. It was real. It was painful. And and it was one of those things where there is no room for no mutual agreement. You know how some people like we could break up and be friends and mutual agreement. Bullshit. It was no room for a mutual agreement. It wasn't gonna happen. There was no room for a mutual agreement. My emotions was high, his emotions were high. Just do you hear me? There wasn't no time for that. And I thought, and I'm thinking to myself, you know, during these high emotions, I will admit I'm not perfect. I might have broke a few things around the house. That wasn't healthy. That wasn't a good thing to do, and I don't advise anyone to do it. That was just me and my scariest, wild moments of mental hurt, right? Um, but have you ever been in there where you said, "I'm done," and you make me sick, and you walk out the door and you say you're done, and then you spin the block again, and then you say you're done again, and then you're back there to the point where your family and your friends is like tired of hearing about it. They're like, okay, are we still breaking plates? Are you going back to that toxic shit? What are we doing? Are you really happy? And then you're sitting there looking dumb on your phone, like, doo, doo, doo. I don't know. You're just looking a little Dumbo-ish, got a little clown face about now. And it's hard to let go of someone you love, but it's possible, you know? It's very possible. I mean, you might wake up one day and you're feeling just fine. And other days you may wake up and you feel sad, you know, and you're sitting there. And there are some people that, can get out of a 10, 20 relationship, five, six, and walk away and never look back. And I salute you. Hello, somebody, because you the bomb. You might have to tell me what you did to do what you did to walk away and not turn back. That's some powerful shit. I'm still learning lessons, so I would love to know, for the future. My future relationship, if it doesn't work out, I want to know how to walk away and not look back. So for whoever you are out there, chime me in because I'm a walking lesson, and I would love to know. Because I'm human and I make mistakes, and I love to learn. And if someone could tell me, hey, I did this when I walked away, and it worked for me. Hey, what worked for you may work for me too. Share the wonderfulness. But it takes time. For me, it takes time. It takes strength to walk away. Sometimes that strength is saying, I'm walking away, even though my heart's saying, stay, stay, stay. My heart's begging me to stay. And your heart can sometimes, be amazing. Our hearts are amazing, but our brains are more amazing. Our hearts are amazed, but our brain, we control it. So you control your brain, you can control your heart. And you tell your heart, oh, I know we did love that person. We did. But listen to me, heart. Listen to the brain. That journey is over with now. And so you get that in control. And man, so you just keep walking away from it, to better yourself so you can see what life after a breakup will look like. You know what I mean? Because life after a breakup, let's talk about that. Oh, it feels weird at first, because the person that you were with, you're no longer with no more. And it's like they're gone. It's like, gosh, some you go from talking to a person every day to not talking to them at all. And then me, anyways, part of my healing, it wasn't the best. Sometimes I would go through my phone like, who can I call? Who could keep me busy? What can I do to not think about this situation? And don't let a song come on that reminds you of that person. You're just sitting in the room like, why is this song harassing me? This song is for me. Can't be. This is our song. And you're sitting there just like, I'm I'm a flip it. So what I did, so I didn't go into that phase of Never Neverland, I flipped the damn song. That song wasn't for me. It just happened to come on. Hello, somebody. My mind tried to change that and say, "Hey, that song's for you." That's a sign. It wasn't a sign. It was just a song on the radio. I felt like the song was attacking me. Right? That was a joke. But I slowly realizing that the inner me was changing, and it was flowing out of the outer me. The inner me was starting to feel more peace, and it was showing in the outer me. Hell, I even changed my hairstyle. Yes, I did. I mean, I didn't do a drastic change. Like I went from straight to curly, ponytail to bob. And it wasn't because I was hurting, but there was a glow about me. And there's a glow with you when you let go of something that was hurting you and potentially holding you back. And I got that glow back, and I'm just glowing. I was laughing more. I never stopped laughing. I didn't laugh as much, but I'm laughing more, and I'm more excited about what is to come. And I mean, a real laugh, not one of those, a real solid, happy, tickling your insides laugh. Feels good. And it felt good. It felt wonderful. And, a few weeks later, I realized, like, whoa, wait, I'm doing okay. Look at me. And I was back in line with my life. It was a beautiful come up for me. You know what I mean? It felt good. It was such a breathtaking come up that even, me being the new me life after breakup, I would see, my ex. And that's because we live in the same town. Don't you hate that? Like you live in the same town with your ex and you're like, God, I wish they move out of town. I don't want to see this person nowhere. But when you're over someone and you no longer have that that love, that sensitive, that tender spot for them, seeing them in public, whether it's by themselves, with a group of friends, or with another person, it won't move you. It'll be like, that's her issue or his issue, but that was my healing. Now you're gonna have to heal after that relationship. You're gonna need some therapy and probably a couple bottles. Let them figure that out because you move past that, right? Healing looks different in every different way. Healing is not the same for everyone. I didn't I didn't come to say that you break up with someone that you're automatically gonna be okay. But breakups are sometimes it has to be done, and little by little, you start to get better. If you're the one that broke up with them, Then on the flip side, you may not be in pain. The other person that you broke up with is probably sick of shit. But at the same time, if you are the one that is on the other end of that sick of the shit and you're hurting and they broke up with you, it hit different. People break up for different reasons. Never stay in a relationship that is abusing you mentally, physically, emotionally. And I'm not here to be saying, oh, I think you need to do all these, but I do think that in relationships, if it is not helping you, if it hurts you, if it doesn't make you comfortable, if it's not a safe place, find another place. But before you find that place, of course, find yourself. Because, like I said, I was in a 7-year relationship and it wore and tore the shit out of me. I mean, like I said, the first 5 years appeared essentially were great, but then I think getting to know each other and the balance that we had and the boundaries that I was setting and the boundaries that maybe they set, we didn't agree. And sometimes you get in a relationship and you do meet that one person, you guys can respect each other's boundaries and you have your falls, but you fall back together and then you get married. I don't know, I've never been married, but if that happens, hello somebody, it is a beautiful thing. So one thing that I learned in my breakup, life after breakup, that it did hurt me, but it didn't break me. Understand that it built me. It built me for the next. It built me stronger for the next situation that may come my way. I found my strength. I rebuilt my confidence. And then I realized something powerful that I didn't, excuse me, I didn't lose them, right? They lost me. And if you remember that, hey, treat yourself as beautiful as you are. I'm a prize. And unfortunately, you got whatever you're doing over there, you just lost a wonderful prize. And, sometimes, there's only one of you. So when they lose that, they can't get another duplicate, because they lost you. And before they lost you, you gave your loyalty. You gave you gave just your genuine self and you was real with them, you know? And so now that when you reach that part of your life where you know that you're no longer chasing things, you're choosing yourself, you're no longer settling, because a lot of us settle and then we realize a couple years later that you've been settling for something that never ever was going to grow. So don't settle, don't settle. Love yourself. If you feel like you have to settle, stay single. Um, and that choose you every time. Choose yourself, and that right there makes you winning off the gate. Once you choose yourself, it'll be easy to find someone else or for someone to find you. Don't go looking for love. Love will find you. Breakups is hard, especially when it's someone you have spent years with. But sometimes what feels like the end is just your beginning. The beginning of your peace, the beginning of your growth, and the beginning of you. It will not be easy, but it can happen. It will be tears. There will be moments that you question, and there will be moments that you think you wasn't going to be all right, and you was all right. But you did. You did good, and you're doing good. And if you're going through a breakup right now, or you're thinking about breaking up with somebody, let me say this to you. You're stronger and you're going to be okay. Whether you're breaking up with that person and you're worried about their feelings, you do what you're supposed to do. You do what you have to do. Feelings aside, think about yourself first. They'll be okay. Um, at the same time, sometimes, you can look back at all the growth that you made and say, wow, look how far I came. You don't have to rush healing. You don't have to rush anything. It is on your time, but just don't stay stuck there for long. Make sure you have an exit plan. Okay. So thank you guys for tuning into my show. It's been a bless. I feel honored. I am happy that you guys are here with me. So for the rest of the evening, you guys enjoy your evening, cook some good dinner, and remember that you don't have to settle for anything. You are who you are. Thank you. And remember to like and subscribe and connect with me at Marshall's Books and More on my webpage. I will be honored to have you to buy some of my products. So with that being said, thank you so much for tuning into the Here and Now show. As my motto is, take a leap of faith. Dreams do come true. Like and share. Thank you to all my subscribers.